Hey, good morning, everybody. Derek here from Bomb Socks with another round of Bomb Bites, where we feast upon the words of Christ. And as always, we do it one bite at a time. So, section 88, we talked yesterday. This is the olive leaf. It's something that is designed for peace. It is designed for friendship. From a revelation that was about war the day before, we're talking about peace now. And again, it's a long section. In fact, I went ahead and took. There are sometimes when I'm studying long sections of scripture and I want to get to what I really believe the message is, I will use kind of a unique tool. And many of you have seen different ones over the years. One of my favorites, it's an old school one. It is called Wordle. Now, Wordle is one where there's ones called word salad. There's all kinds of different ones. But anyway, Wordle is the OG of this one. And so what Wordle does is you take all the text of something and you just copy a bunch of text and then you put it into this word generator. And then what it will do, and I'll show you in a second, it will pull out the words that are mentioned the most often will be more prominent in here. I may have used this before in another episode, but let me pop in all 141 verses of section 88 and just pop it right into here. And here you go. I mean, you look at some of these words right here. This gives you an idea of what section 88 really is focusing on. You know, you see the words God, you see light, you see glory, you see kingdom, you see law. I mean, there's some wonderful things here. So I actually want to focus on those 5 words for a moment. Again, the words are God, kingdom, light, law, and glory. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to have you look at all 141 verses. Yeah, 141. Good luck. No, that's not what we're going to do. I want to give you, and again, this is still a hefty chunk. It's the first 50 verses, okay? Not even half of the section, but the first 50 verses or so. Keep in mind, just kind of skim through these and look for things like God and kingdom and light and law and glory, and just see if there are any verses or any truths that would help someone want to gain a better knowledge of any of those words there. In fact, if as a family you could do this, you could be like, so I found an amazing verse that helped me learn more about God or about light or about law or kingdom or glory. And actually, the verse doesn't have to mention those things, but if it does, that's cool too. So just take a few minutes and just go through this. Take whatever the time you need to just scroll through that and just find some good things. Maybe even share them in the comments. But I'll come back and I'll just share with you one little thought that I had. Okay, so there's like I said, there's a lot in there. You could spend days on that. But just right at the beginning, I see verses 6 and 7. And there's some cool things here. It says, he that ascended, this is talking about Jesus Christ, he that ascended up on high, as also he descended below all things, in that he comprehended all things, that he might be in all and through all things, the light of truth. Now, the next verse is super cool. It says, which truth shineth. This is the light of Christ, and also he is in the sun, and the light of the sun, and the power thereof, by which it was made. In this section that I had you read, it goes through and even talks about the celestial glory, the terrestrial glory, and the telestial glory a little bit, and it talks about that light that shines. It even goes through and talks about the individuals left over, if you want to say that, how they didn't want to receive the gift of the atonement. That's one of the reasons why. The atonement is available for all, but those individuals would not receive it. In fact, you go down to 32 and 33. They who remain shall be quickened, nevertheless. They shall return again to their own place to enjoy that which they are willing to receive, because they were not willing to enjoy that which they might have received, that gift of the atonement. For what doth it profit a man if a gift is bestowed upon him, and he receive not that gift? Behold, he rejoices not in that which is given unto him, neither rejoices in him who is the giver of that gift. And so coming back to this idea of truth that shineth, because again, it comes all the way through, and these are individuals who are not willing to accept that goodness and that truth and that glory and that light of the atonement of Jesus Christ. Well, there's a talk I was reading just recently. It's back in the day. It's actually edited from a talk that he gave at BYU on August 27, 1985. So this is back right after President Nelson was put into the Quorum of the 12, I believe. It's right around that time period. But truth and more. And he goes through, and it is awesome talking about truth. In fact, one of the things he does, he focuses on individuals who are using truth to further their own purposes. He even talks about politicians dragging up truth from people's past, and historians with their own agendas trying to drag out what they deem as truth to try to further their agendas. And we see that happening today. It's interesting. This is, we're going 35 years later and we're seeing that very thing happen. But I love what President Nelson does, because the phrase I wanted to bring up was truth shineth. He goes through and he says the word truth is used 435 times in the scriptures. I have studied each of them. I love that. In 374 of those instances, truth is coupled in the same verse with some form of a strengthening term. Now you look at some of these words here. You've got spirit, mercy, righteousness, holiness, judgment, light. There's that light that we've got there. Grace, goodliness, love, peace, justice, faith. Truth is most often associated with these good things here. Now, he says the vast majority, which is 374 out of 435, of scriptural references to this weighty word exemplify the importance of truth and more, which is the purpose of his talk. What do these figures tell us? Just as oxen may be equally yoked together to accomplish what one could not do alone, so the power of truth is augmented if equally yoked with righteousness or with mercy or with the spirit of love. So people are using today this idea of truth to really further personal agendas of trying to drag people down, or trying to drag down people in history or whatever it is. And President Nelson said, don't do that. You couple truth. You see truth in its purest form in the scriptures, and it is coupled together with all these beautiful things. And so as you are studying truth, you will see that light comes about and glory comes about as you're really searching for that truth. And so I love that. I think that's a cool little message, and I would invite you to read that whole talk. It's very enlightening for you. So anyway, that's the first 50 verses, sort of section 88. Tomorrow we're going to keep going with a few right after that. And you guys are awesome. Godspeed, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.